everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. Shh. Paul's sleeping. That's why I'm wearing my headset. So we're at our 90 here in Chesterfield, or I guess maybe technically West Chesterfield, New Hampshire. So this is a lovely area, the Granite State. It's a great state up here in New England. And just to get over here, we came up 91 and then we crossed over the Connecticut River, which kind of separates Vermont and New Hampshire. But the cool thing about crossing over the river is there are two bridges, an old one and a new one, and you can only drive on the new one. But what I noticed about the bridge was it's dedicated to the U.S. Navy Seabees. So shout out to my friends and colleagues that are or were Seabees, because you guys can do. So yeah, we got over here to Chesterfield, and this is a area that's been settled for a long time. It's kind of interesting though. The first two settlers of this place actually didn't come up here until after the governor, I think, of Massachusetts established the border. And the two guys that came up here they came in canoes, and they were the first. They came up the river from Connecticut, and they settled the town, and so the town's been official since 1752. And one of the more interesting things about Chesterfield is that Methodism, or the Methodist faith, was practiced up here, still is, I'm sure. And Francis Asbury himself preached here. But that was before they built the Asbury Church. Now the Asbury Church is here, and it's regarded for its architectural style of that type of church. And it's considered kind of like the mother church of Methodism in the state of New Hampshire. So I thought that was kind of interesting and cool, because you see a lot of churches, a lot of Methodist churches are called Asbury Church or Asbury United Methodist or something words to that effect. I've seen them all over the country. So Francis Asbury obviously was hugely influential. And another kind of noteworthy thing, or person from here, is a guy named Harlan Fiske Stone. And Harlan Fiske Stone was an interesting guy to me for a number of reasons. He went to Amherst College, which I've mentioned in previous episodes that I've done up here, and because I talked about Emily Dickinson. But so Harlan Fiske Stone went to Amherst College, and he was a classmate of Calvin Coolidge's. And if you're not super familiar with U.S. presidents, Calvin Coolidge was the president in between President Harding and President Hoover. So I'd have to check on what number president he was, but anyway, Stone and Coolidge were classmates at Amherst, and Stone went to Columbia Law School after Amherst. I think he taught school for a year. He goes to Columbia Law School. He was a brilliant legal scholar. So when Coolidge becomes president, he asks Harlan Fiske Stone to become his attorney general, and eventually Stone took on the task of cleaning up the Justice Department, because there had been a lot of scandals during the Harding administration. And as you may know, Harding died in office, but it was not, Harding didn't, cover himself in glory. So Stone takes on the task of kind of cleaning up the Justice Department and getting rid of the bad apples, so to speak. Coolidge then nominates Harlan Fiske Stone to the Supreme Court. But here's the interesting thing about Stone. He was a lifelong Republican. He was a conservative guy. And he had been a partner at Sullivan and Cromwell, which, if you know anything about law firms, is and has been one of the most powerful law firms in the country. A lot staunch New Dealer. And to give you an idea of how important he was to the New Deal and to the Roosevelt administration, Roosevelt, when I think it was Charles Evans Hughes passed away, Roosevelt nominated Stone to be the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, so ended up being the 12th Chief Justice. And there were a few noteworthy cases during his time. Probably the most well-known case is the Korematsu case, and that was the case where the court ruled that the United States government could inter Japanese citizens, and it is certainly not our finest hour, and I think there are lots and lots of problems with Korematsu, but I think that the court, like courts anytime, are still, notwithstanding that federal judges and certainly justices on the Supreme Court are appointed for life and should not be swayed by political influence or their own personal biases. They're human beings, and they're subject to the winds of society and of the times. And Stone even said that courts needed to be able to adapt to changes in society. So he definitely was not a strict constructionist. But I really do think that this anti-Japanese fervor in the weeks and months after the Pearl Harbor attack really clouded the judgment of the court. And and the reason I point that out is because the Germans engaged in far more sabotage and subterfuge in the United States than did the Japanese. And part of the reason was that Germans were the largest. They were the largest percentage of all immigrant populations. In fact, they still are today. The Irish are second. But Japanese people, Asian people, were easy to pick out of a crowd. Germans, not so much, because Germans look like everybody, because everybody was either German or Irish. I mean, if you added up all the German and Irish, you would have, especially back then, you would have like 70% of the population, maybe, especially on the East Coast. So Korematsu is like I said, it's just not our best day. And if you're ever interested if you're interested in World War II, but you're interested in the home front, I strongly recommend reading a book called Farewell to Manzanar. And often that book is read by kids in school. And it's the story of it's written by a woman who is Japanese American whose family was interned when she was a little girl. And I apologize, I can't remember her name. I have read the book. She's still living, as far as I know, and lives on the West Coast. But Manzanar Manzanar comes from the Spanish word manzana. It's like Manzanar means like orchard, apple orchard. And she was interred at a camp called Manzanar, and Farewell to Manzanar is about the destruction kind of her family. They were fishermen. Her dad and other relatives were fishermen. They owned property in California. They owned boats. Everything was taken from them, and it's interesting. And of course, the legality of it was based on a Korematsu decision. So anyway, that's what we're up to today. We're getting this trailer unloaded right now. I don't know what we're gonna do next. There are loads out of here. I think by Thursday or Friday it's gonna be pretty snowy up here. So we'll just have to see what we get out of here. And of course, because right now we're dealing with the functional equivalent of your neighbor telling his 8-year-old kid to ring your doorbell and run like 17 times a day, because we have a trailer that has a faulty fuel sensor. So like every 13 minutes we get an alarm saying we only have 6 gallons of fuel left, which isn't the case. And also my yellow light is lit on the trailer saying we gotta over town. So anyway, that's kind of what we're up to. Oh, and one other sad note, and I just wanted to mention this. Yesterday here in not here in Massachusetts, but yesterday over in Massachusetts near Boston, a prime driver lost his life, and it's in the Boston media. His name is out there. He was 55 years old, from Missouri. At least that's what the news report said. I'm not going to name him because I don't know if anybody who knows him hasn't heard yet. And I don't know that he didn't experience a medical emergency, because the description from the police was that he left his lanes of travel, crossed the median, crossed 3 oncoming lanes, and went 150 feet into the woods. Fortunately, no other vehicles were involved. This happened at like 3:30 in the morning yesterday, so January 31st. And I did see some pictures that a friend who lives nearby sent me, that he had just kind of recorded a quick video off the TV, and the truck did not appear to have been, badly damaged. And the state police said they found the driver outside the truck and attempted CPR and other measures. So I'm not sure, getting back to what I was saying, I'm not sure that he didn't suffer a medical emergency or fall asleep or something, because it just wouldn't seem like the truck would just stay nice and straight through all that if it had like spun out on ice or something. I could be wrong, and I don't want to speculate, but I think it points up the idea that what we do is dangerous. We need to take care of our health. If we're tired, we need to stop, and we just need to, just be careful. Every mile could be your last. Like I'm fond of saying that the past is not prologue when you're driving, because every driver that wrecked or had any mishap, the mile before they were doing just fine. So like I said, I don't recognize the man's name, but I hope everybody just keeps him and his family and just people that were friends of his in their thoughts and prayers. So anyway, be safe out there, do your best, and remember, there's nothing in that trailer that's worth your life. So anyway, take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.